Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Sunday. It's not a very good Sunday, is it? It's cold, it's wet, there's a storm outside in the UK, and Arsenal have lost their first game of the season. They did it in very, very disappointing fashion yesterday. I wasn't there. I was out last night, so a bit of a disclaimer at the start of this. I was watching it in the pub. I had lots of drinks throughout the day, and so I'm not going to do player ratings or anything like that in today's show because I just didn't watch the game like I normally do. You know, I was in a pub with loads of mates and wasn't paying anywhere near enough attention to be able to do stuff like that. But I did still watch it, and I was as disappointed as all of you guys were in it. So we're going to run through it in today's show. Sorry, my voice is pretty bad as well. Feeling the effects. Honestly, I can't drink anymore. Over 40, I can't drink. I can't deal with hangovers anymore. It kills me. Absolutely kills me. But yeah, it was a disappointing game, no doubt about it. So we'll run through that. We'll look at a bit of what Mikel Arteta had to say. You guys have been getting in touch, giving me your reaction as well. So we'll run through some of that, and it was just a disappointing day. It was a really disappointing performance. 2-0, 2 goals in the second half. Obviously, there was a sending off, which we will talk about, which clearly had a big impact in the game. But take that out of it, it was still a disappointing performance, I thought, from Arsenal on the whole. Obviously, there were some issues with injuries. Saka didn't make the game. Martinelli was only fit enough to play on the bench, to start on the bench. So Mikel made the changes that he did. He, having spent pretty much all week saying, "Oh no, I don't see a midfield of Partey, Marino and Rice all playing together." He goes and does it in the first opportunity. And I did look at that team sheet and I thought, I don't know. I don't see where the real sort of guile or creativity is going to be in that side. Obviously, Sterling played out on the right-hand side, and I just felt the team selection wasn't right. And I think we saw that in the performance. There was just very little spark. It was a kind of physical side. It was an industrious side, but there was very, very little creativity in it. I think that came away in the performance that Arsenal produced in the game. I mean, you look at the stats. Obviously, this is weighed heavily in Bournemouth's favour because Arsenal played for well over an hour with 10 men. And so obviously Bournemouth ended up largely having the better of the game, which is no surprise. Mikel admitted it afterwards. I thought 11 on 11, it was pretty even stuff. It still wasn't great. I didn't think Arsenal were playing very well up to that point that the sending off did happen. But it clearly had a huge impact in the game. And Arsenal, they've talked about since the red card, I saw Declan Rice talking about it. They've got away with it a couple of times so far in the first 7 games with the other 2 red cards, but they didn't get away with it last night. And you just can't keep getting players sent off. You can't. It's just impossible in the Premier League. If you're going to have players sent off, you're going to drop points, and that's what's happening with Arsenal at the moment. Mikel was asked about the game. So obviously, we were very disappointed with the result and gutted because we had to play the game in that context, even more difficult than the previous 2 that we already faced this season. Playing for 65 or 68 minutes with 10 men at this level is just an impossible task, an accident waiting to happen to not get the points. I cannot fault the team for their effort, commitment, how intelligent they play in the way they have to do it. There is a big moment at 0-0 when we have a big opening, a one-on-one situation with the keeper, and we don't manage to score. And then at the other end, we do that. We have to fault ourselves. Football is a sport where errors are part of that. And tonight we made 2 big errors that have cost us the game, unfortunately. And it was just a game littered with errors from Arsenal. From the Trossard's, I don't even know what that was, how you describe that pass back to William Saliba, which left Saliba in a real difficult situation. Saliba then, in my mind, made a big error in doing what he did. He panicked a little bit and he gave the officials a decision to make. I don't think he needed to do that. I think he would have easily had the pace to get back and win that duel in that situation and be able to deal with it. But he obviously panicked a little bit, put his arms on the forward, and the forward's just always going to go down at that point. And like I said, that gives the referee a decision to make. And then in the second half, obviously, the switched off from the short corner. It was a very good corner, not short corner, but switched off from the corner routine. It was a very good routine by Bournemouth. They planned it really, really well, but Arsenal switched off. And then the second goal, obviously, Kivior's back pass and putting Raya in a very difficult position and he ends up bringing it down. So it was just so many errors. It was just that sort of game. It was just a really awful night for Arsenal. I thought they were just off it. I don't know if it was the international break or whatever coming back from, but it just wasn't the Arsenal side. And that's, just take the red card away from it. And it wasn't the sort of performance we've come to expect from Arsenal. And ultimately they got what they deserved, which was absolutely nothing out of the game. But I think you obviously have to put the injuries into the equation. Arsenal missing a lot of players. And when you're missing some really key players and then you go down to 10 men and have to play that long in the Premier League away from home, you're going to struggle. It's as simple as that. But on the red card now, obviously Saliba got himself sent off. I think it was a red card, personally. I know some people disagree. Obviously, the referee gave a yellow on the pitch at the time. You see the Premier League said the referee gave Saliba a yellow card for a challenge on Evan Nielsen, the FA deemed that Saliba denied, the VAR deemed that Saliba denied an obvious goal scoring opportunity and recommended an on-field review. The referee then upgraded the yellow card to a red card. And Mikel said, well, it was a decision that was made on the pitch and that decision that was changed. And now I don't think the decision is going to change twice. So decision made. On if he was surprised by Saliba's challenge, he said, I don't know. It's a split-second decision you have to make. The striker is on his back. Obviously, he doesn't expect the ball, and then suddenly it's coming his way. He made a decision. That's it. The referee decided to give a yellow and then a red card. I think it was probably the right decision. I think if that plays out, if that move plays out and Saliba doesn't do the foul, I think he gets back and clears it. So you could look at that and say, well, it's not a goal scoring opportunity then because Saliba's going to get back because he's faster. But I'm not sure really the officials can take that into account when giving that decision. If that's at the other end, we're all screaming for a red card. If that happens down the other end. So I'm not too angry about the fact it was upgraded. I didn't think the Howard Webb thing was a great look when it flashes to him in the crowd. He's on his phone texting someone. He's listening to in his earpiece. Clearly, you would think listening to VAR in his earpiece. And I mean, that's not a great look for Howard Webb in the Premier League, I don't think. But we can all make up our own conclusions in terms of what he was doing and what he was saying at that point. But I do think you've got to blame Arsenal for that situation more than the officials and the decision to overturn it, I think. So I don't know what Trossard was thinking, what was going through his mind. Then I do think that Saliba, probably as Mikel said, because he wasn't expecting the ball to suddenly be played to him the way it was, and he just sort of got caught in two minds, panicked a little bit, and then gave the referee a decision to make. And when that sort of thing happens, it's just such an uphill battle for Arsenal. And maybe Mikel could have done something different in terms of how he reorganised. Obviously, brought on Kivior, he took off Sterling. Did he need to go that defensive? Did that take away a lot of Arsenal's threat? Could you have moved Declan Rice to centre back potentially, and then just had Partey and Marino playing as a two? Or you could have moved Ben White into right back and moved Partey back to right back, and reorganised that way, and still kept Declan Rice and Marino as a two. I don't know. It's all hypothetical now. The decision has been made, but I didn't think Arteta covered himself in glory with his team selection and maybe his decision making after the red card either. And it just summed up Arsenal's night. I just thought from on the pitch to the players to the coaching staff to the team selection, everything was just a little bit off yesterday, and Arsenal were punished. And now they're going to have to really bounce back. Obviously, Saliba's going to miss the Liverpool game, which is really disappointing. He'll play on Tuesday night in the Champions League, but then has to miss the Liverpool game. So we'll have to wait and see what Mikel decides to do in his absence for that game. But that's clearly a big blow against a team like Liverpool with the attack they have. You want William Saliba playing in that game. So it's a huge blow to be without him for that. This is what some of you guys have been saying, reacting to the game. Said the first goal commentary, the set piece kings done by a set piece. It hurt a lot, says Cheesy Gunner. Shocking performance. Everybody looks like they were a yard off these international breaks to stir the rhythm, especially on top six sides. Bobby Ball says, credit to Bournemouth, but this is what can happen in the PL if you are not at it. And we were sloppy, full of individual errors, had no intensity in either defence or attack. What were Trossard and Kivior doing? Both awful passes. Arteta called it right. We were an accident waiting to happen. Hopefully that was the kick up the backside we need before Liverpool. Reminded me very much of Fulham away last season. We went on an unbelievable run after that. So hopefully we can do the game same again this season. Yeah, we've got to bounce back. That's just absolutely key now, especially with Liverpool. And then you've got some really tricky away games to come. This was a bad result at a bad time for Arsenal. They've got to bounce back quickly. They can't get into a little rut because on the back of this. Scott says, hey, Charles, we were crap today and didn't deserve to win. But what's your thought on Howard Webb and the earpiece in the stand listening to VAR and texting while they make a decision? I'd love to see his phone, wouldn't we all? Scott, absolutely. If the ref gave a red card first time, I wouldn't complain, but the ref has the best view of the incident. And to make him go to the screen when he had the clearest view just stinks to me. Nothing is clear and obvious about what would happen next if Saliba didn't take him down. But now it's another week of the letter of the law brigade. Yeah, I mean, I've had my say in it, Scott. I'm not surprised the VAR called him over. Again, if that happens at the other end of the pitch, I think we all want a red card. I think when you look at it, yes, he was a long way from goal. Yes, I think you're right. I think Saliba gets back and makes the tackle in that situation. But I'm not overly surprised. I think we can be a lot more disappointed in what Arsenal did in that incident and the mistakes that they made more than the decision to actually upgrade the yellow to a red. But I agree that the Howard Webb thing, it just doesn't look great. It didn't look great, I thought, at the time. I'm not surprised lots and lots of people have picked up on it. Chicken Dipper says, my thoughts on the game. The lack of creativity was there to see. We miss Odegaard and Saka. Trossard is better as a false nine, not on the wing. I agree. I much prefer Trossard in that central role. Marino didn't have a great game. The team was scared to shoot from outside the box. Martinelli should have gone near post. Trossard's mistake led to Saliba's red card. Honestly, it was a red, but I believe both White and Saliba would have caught the striker. I agree. I think it's time we play Nwaneri in that creative role. Let him start. He's ready. His cameo is better than the whole of Marino's time on the pitch. Arteta must be brave and give him a chance. Yeah, I was really surprised that he played Marino, Partey and Rice. Really surprised. It was just a little bit too conservative for me. And it was always going to be there was going to be a lack of creativity because of that. And, you know, I've said it. I think Nwaneri's ready. I 100% think that. And he could have started that game. And I think the lack of creativity was really, really obvious for Arsenal. Marino, obviously, was his first start. He had a chance in the first half, which he put wide. Martinelli's chance was massive, obviously. At 0-0, you've got to take that chance. When you're down to 10 men, you have a clear one-on-one like that. Good pass from Marino to play him in. Could have gone near post, probably should have gone near post, but just you've got to score. Those are the key moments that you've got to take when you're down to 10 men. Blake says, as head of PGMOL in the middle of a match, changing VAR review. Sorry, I just dropped my phone on the floor. Hopefully it hasn't smashed. What could Howard Webb be speaking to on his phone? He's clearly typing and puts his hand to his earpiece, and then the VAR asks the ref to check. Yeah, a lot of people picking up on that. I'm not surprised. People are a little bit unhappy with it. Vet Paris says, really bad day at the office. Uncharacteristically poor performance from Raya. Yeah, Raya had a poor game, I thought. I think Arteta's tactics were poor. I agree with that. Playing Marino as the most advanced midfielder didn't suit him at all. He won lots of duels, set up Martinelli, but he gave the ball away a lot and looked off the pace. I felt both Nwaneri and Zinchenko, if he was fit, would have been better suited to that role. In the second half, I felt we needed Jesus to replace Marino to play on the right, and Havertz dropping back into midfield. Our right-hand side had zero attacking threat. It made it quite easy to defend. Just lastly, from Devan says, Bournemouth lost. No one can blame Saliba for the red, Trossard for the horrible back pass, VAR for intervening in what was not a clear and obvious error by the ref, or Martinelli for missing the sitter. But for me, Arteta's team selection was the most important factor behind the flat performance. How can you put a midfield of Rice, Partey and Marino together against a team like Bournemouth and expect to create chances, especially when Saka and Odegaard are missing? Baffled me that we played teams like Leicester, Southampton and Bournemouth without Martin, and Nwaneri didn't start in any of the games. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't. I thought it was a good opportunity to start Nwaneri in at least one of those games. Didn't take it. He looked bright when he comes on the pitch. But obviously Mikel chose otherwise, which was a little bit strange to me, disappointing, felt like a bit of a missed opportunity. And I definitely think his team selection was wrong yesterday. I didn't like it from when I saw it on paper, and I didn't like it when I saw it on the pitch as well. But it's done now. It's all hypothetical. Arsenal have lost. Their unbeaten record has gone. And now it's all about bouncing back quickly, because we've got some really important games. Starting, obviously, on Tuesday night with Shakhtar Donetsk. Mikel will be speaking tomorrow in his press conference. There's open training session at London Colney as well ahead of that one. So we're just going to have to put it behind us, move on, and hope the team can bounce back quickly, because that game against Liverpool is absolutely massive next week. Now, right, thanks for watching, everyone. Apologies for the voice. Hope it was okay and it came across all right. I'm going to go back and lie down and try and recover over the next couple of hours or so. Have a good one, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.